Oh yeah, it seems I'm live now. I'm still a bit challenged with this, yeah. Okay, so here I am. I hope everyone can hear me and see me. Create a Linux desktop inside a browser, and you can send me chats here. Let me see if that works. Yeah, at least I can see my chat. And what I wanted to discuss today is my new work, which is Linux in a browser. You find it on GitHub. It tells you how to put your Linux into a browser. Look here. Yeah, so wanted to make this bigger, but you can see here, this is a browser, and in the browser I have a tab, in that tab, a Linux desktop is running. And that Linux desktop is being served from a container, which is absolutely crazy, yeah, and this is part of the idea, that it is absolutely crazy to make this from a container, because containers are usually thought to handle stateless information, and the Linux desktop can be very stateful. So wanted to show that, just wanted to prove that it works here. And I'm starting right now. Going to Cloud Console. And in this Cloud Console, I'm opening the Cloud Shell. And I can make it smaller and bigger. And my first task will be to clone this GitHub repository. So for your information, so that you can reproduce it, I'm now saying I'm first deleting the directory, then I'm cloning it. And what am I supposed to do after cloning it? After cloning it, I'm supposed to run setup.sh. Okay. I did already cd into it. And I call setup.sh. Now it is deploying a service NoVNC Chrome to Cloud Run. And this builds up a Cloud Run service. And when we have it, it will be available as an application. And while this is going, I show you the Docker file. So if you look into this GitHub repository, you find the Docker file. And it basically says, take in Ubuntu 24.04 as a baseline, and then install some packages, and install Chrome, and then start up a VNC server. And then you will expose this using NoVNC. Okay, it is still running. And yeah, what's also important are the reasons what the sense of this could be. So you can use this as your Linux desktop. You can start a task in the office, close your laptop, and pick up exactly where you left at home. So I will show this that you can log out and then log in again. Little problem is that Cloud Run only allows you to do sessions up to 3,600 seconds. So we could use different container solutions, but this is just a proof of concept. The other thing is with this, you get real data center speed on your Linux desktop. At home, I get 44 megabit per second, and on that cloud instance, I get almost 500 megabit per second. I can use this as a bastion host to take over control of a project that is otherwise not reachable. I can spin this up in USA and serve from an American IP address. That means I will get special discounts from customers or from companies who decide to give local discounts to US users. I used this once when I wanted to book a rental car, and I compared the rates that the rental car cost. It was much cheaper when you were asking for it from an American IP address. So you can get rebates like an American. And you can also use it to share your desktop. So there's one desktop, and you can, for example, ask other users to join it. And this way you can quickly demonstrate Linux to them. Another big reason why you would do this is, of course, that you can try out Linux, or that you can try out different distributions, different window managers, and so on. And let's see how far we are here. It is still building the container. I'm using that Docker file. It sets up Ubuntu, XFCE, that is a window manager. How does it look? Looks like this. It is characteristic that you have your taskbar here, that you can start a console here. It is minimalistic, but let's also try other window managers. And then it will use no VNC, because usually you have to export the display using VNC. Then you need a VNC viewer to see this display. With no VNC, you can just watch it via a browser. And it will also install Chrome, so we have something to look into, that we have a browser. The cool thing is that you just need to run start.sh, and everything will be set up for you automatically. What you should also know before continuing is that we have an X startup file, which defines what is started when the VNC session is started. And we have setup.sh. Oh, sorry, you use setup.sh to set everything up. And start.sh will then start the rest. I wrote an article about it here on Medium. Feel free to check it out. Basically the same what I want to show now. To shorten the time a bit, I have already set something up. Here we go to Cloud Run. And in Cloud Run, we have the no VNC service started already. What I am installing now is has a different name. What's the name again? It is no VNC-Chrome. Here you see it. And this will be set up, so these two services do not collide. But let me just demonstrate what's possible. I say no VNC service, and it tells me just go here to watch it. And now we see it. Here is my Linux desktop, and I forgot what I already said earlier, that you can just take over the session of, for example, another person. And that also means that you can show another person how to solve problems. For example, let me make this here smaller and create another window. And now imagine this window is your father or your brother or whoever in another part of the world. And then you just say, come here, come to this URL. And here's now your person who you want to show something. And here you are. And you can, for example, teach him how to open another tab. And what I wanted to show you is what is my IP. So if you are now the teacher of a person that that is sitting on quite another part of the world. So let's imagine that's your friend Joe, and he is in America, and you can just look over your virtual shoulder. And you say, what is my IP? And then you click on which one shall we click on? Let's click on this here. No, that was not what I meant. Let's click on this here. And this is how you find out your public IP address that you can then find in the internet. And you see my data center. So the IP is governed from Omaha, where in reality I am sitting in Germany. And that is the point here. That is the point here. Just run into a timeout. That is still a problem with this desktop. And I have to start again. And working on this is really fun because it drives you to the borders of your knowledge, and you learn something new. And I say I don't want to sign in. I just want to, for example, do a speed test because I promised you that the speed from this thing would be much faster than any other speed, and than the speed that you get at home. And you see you are getting almost 200 megabits per second. And while you are doing this, your pupil or whoever it is, your trainee, is looking over your shoulder, and you can also see this. And then you can have a live session sharing your expertise with him or with her. And that was now 200. Last time it was 500. It depends highly on how many processors you get in your container. And I can also think that I want to show this to you today, depending on all the comments that I get here. Last time we had 70 visitors. I hope we can trump this here. I hope this is the right word. So this is what I mean by session sharing. You have one person who looks over your shoulders, and you can also take over and work on the same session. This way, you can both control one Linux session. So this is very good if you want to troubleshoot issues, or if you want to do some training and show other people how you move around inside your Linux desktop. Yeah, and here we see it. I'm now stopping this so I can use the full screen to continue. And you see, thanks to NoVNC, the thing automatically scales. So this is now smaller, and now your screen gets bigger, and it is still the full screen that you see. Don't be confused, that is XFCE, so that means here is your start bar, this is where you start tasks, and here you can switch between tasks. So that is your Chrome, that here is my terminal, and I can continue like this. And what I want to do is, actually I find this a bit ugly, and I want to change the background. I have already changed the background in that container that I'm right now installing. And it tells me he has been successful. Remember, I just followed the instructions from Linux in a browser, my GitHub repository here. And it tells me you have your service URL here. And I wait a bit. So NoVNC has given over control to the desktop environment. Now we have a beautiful screen background. That is the cottage near Berlin that my family is renting out. So very proud of this. If you want more information on this, you can go to sterk.de/Priros and even book it, by the way. So at least we have done a beautiful, we have now a beautiful screen background. And if I remember correctly, this will also not have a session limit of 5 minutes, but of 3,600 seconds. Let's quickly check if this is true. Okay, so we can make this smaller now because installation has already finished. And we go into Cloud Run and have a look at this No VNC Chrome. I always keep forgetting the names. Yes, it was called No VNC Service. It was called No VNC Service. It was called No VNC Chrome because I see that has been installed 6 minutes ago. I go to this service and here I see all the parameters it has. So I said deliberately it shall only have one CPU, and it listens on port 8080. Let's see if we have this here. Yeah, okay, because we are masked by the app, by the Cloud Run app. We do not have to say that we want to address port 8080. That is being handled internally. And I was saying that, and here we have a timeout of 240 seconds. No, sorry, that is the health check. And there was also one way to set the timeout. Where was this again? Was on the source, and here we have it in setup.sh. I have set the timeout to 3,600. I can tell this from the source, but wanted to see the session live also. Oh my God. Well, at least it seems to work, yeah? And here it is, your No VNC service. It is a bit limited, you know, because it is a container, it is not modifiable. So when I try to touch anything, it will not work. Or it will not be persistent. So this has worked. Let's see, yes, it has worked. So I could create a file named test. However, whenever I restart the container, so for example, after 3,600 seconds, it will be gone. So this file will be not there forever. You can fix this by mounting an NFS server there, and this is something I want to try out soon. Maybe now, because I have a bit of time. That is why I'm here. The other thing that I want to look at now, let's have a look at the setup. And let's now change to another. Let's change to another region, maybe. Let's go to Frankfurt. So this is this VI. I used to hate VI, but however, I learned that you just have to type I for insert. Then you give the code name for Frankfurt, and then save and set it up again. And when this finishes, let's see if it again takes about 5 minutes or so. When this finishes, I hope I will be able to set it up again. Or let's say I'm also interested what happens now, because I have here this service already installed. So No VNC Chrome is already installed. And maybe it will be overwritten, maybe setup will fail, maybe nothing of both. I'm interested in what will actually happen. And yeah, this is the interesting stuff that we are doing here. No VNC Chrome. What will happen if this setup command fails? I am interested. So one of the advantages of using a container for this is that no one can really break out. If you have a virtual machine and someone manages to take over control, because you see here, we are all working as root. And I deliberately did not change this, because if I change it, I give you an illusion. If I change it, you can either not install packages, which is against how I want you to use this Linux desktop, because sudo will not be possible, or you make sudo possible. If you make sudo possible, then of course the user gets all the privileges of super user. That means they can in the end delete the complete hard disk, and then your VNC server will not work any longer. So using a container is a good idea. It has the disadvantage that you get a timeout, but only if you use it with Cloud Run. And I wanted to do this as a kind of proof of concept. But if you use another way to do this container, it can even you can have it for several days or whatever. But the first thing I am going to test out now is what will happen as we have not changed the service name. And maybe we will just be overwriting, as I said. So there should be a second no VNC Chrome here, or it should be overwritten. Do you have any idea what it could be? Just say it in the chat. So what else did I learn? I go to no VNC Chrome. Let's see what we have here. Oh. Networking is also important. I allow direct access to the internet. That means everybody can basically connect to it, which is the very purpose, that you can allow other people to look in. But of course, you do not. This is not a service that you can offer for money on a scale, because then you invite hackers who use your processing power and stuff like this. This is also one reason why I decided to require authentication. So everyone can log in, but they need to be logged into Chrome before they access it. And they must be privileged via identity and access management from me. And I'm using an identity-aware proxy. That means you will need a special privilege, which I will show you now. So the only person who is allowed to run this service at the moment is me, and that is torsten@stärk.de. And how does it look like? I need to have the role of an IAP secured web app user. So Internet Aware Proxy Secured Web App user. That means I must be logged into my browser as torsten@stärk.de. Otherwise, I will not be shown this beautiful screen. Okay. Still going on, still building the container. I would also like to set the timeout here, because I've forgotten how it goes, but let's look at it together. Now I'm in no VNC service, but if I say edit and deploy new revision, let's find out. You see 2 GB memory, 1 core. This is also a problem. If your memory gets exhausted, the container will just collapse, and you have to, and it will be automatically restarted. Also a problem I'm still working on. And here's the request timeout. So this is what I set to 3,600 seconds. Where did I set it up? Where did I put this? Of course, into setup.sh. Let's have a look. Setup.sh uses a command here to deploy my service, which is called NoVNC Chrome. And it does it with the timeout. If you do not know how to deal with internet-aware proxy, you can also remove this here. But then you have the problem that every person, even those who are not authenticated, can join. And this is something I do not recommend for a longer time because, as I said, other people can then log in and use your processing power, for example, for Bitcoin mining or for setting up spam bots, which is, of course, something I would absolutely discourage. This is not a good idea. And it is creating a revision. That answers it, I believe. I believe it will now create a new revision of this here. Let's go to the overview. Let's go again to NoVNC Chrome. And I want to see the revisions here. And I see that, again, I need to look into this. So this has been deployed 17 minutes ago. So it is not our latest version. Also, I also cannot convince it to refresh and show me that it has the latest version. And this is still running in Iowa, and this is not what I intended. But if I go here, then it will work, I guess, because here you see already that we are talking about Frankfurt, and it is coming up. And you see that there are scroll bars now. Why is that? Because in the last version, I clicked on this here and I said, no, I did not say full screen. I said, I want to scale this so that it always fits completely. My Linux desktop shall always fit completely into this window. And NoVNC is a bit cumbersome because you have to know that you have to click here. And then you have the full screen at your command again. Next thing, what I wanted to do is I wanted to prove that it is running in Frankfurt. Let's see if this works. No questions in the chat. That means I have answered all questions, or nobody is interested in this kind of challenging, complicated stuff, which I love. So stay signed out again. And I again ask, what is my IP? And take the first link. No, I don't want to. I want to accept them. What is my IP address? Strange, that was not the case last time. I have to look here. Okay. What is my IP address? I am now in Frankfurt am Main. So just one change in the setup file, and I would now be recognized by Amazon, Hertz, all these online vendors as a German customer, and I can decide which discount I want to get. If I want to get a rebate action that is running for Germany or for US, or I can choose any data center in the world. There are different ways. I mean, everything is possible much more simple than I do it, because that's my hobby, making things complicated. and then finding out that there's a little use of it nevertheless, and that you learn a lot. So if you really just want to get a rebate like an American, then I would recommend going for a VPN. But this is definitely also a possibility. But I want to understand what's happening now, because it seems we have two services running here. Yes, we have running no VNC Chrome in Europe West 3 and no VNC Chrome running in US Central 1. Okay, so this works. And what else can we do? I would like to check out the beautiful Cinnamon desktop. So first of all, let's remove this here, because, hell, we don't need it any longer. Let me get, okay. So here we have no VNC Chrome running in US Central, and you see it's amazingly economical. So you only have 0.02 requests per second, which means you don't have to pay a lot of money. And I remove this now. But what I really want to know now is Cinnamon desktop. That's a beautiful Linux desktop. It looks like this, and it is famous for mimicking Windows, because you have a start menu here, and then you can much easier switch from Windows to Linux Mint, which features Cinnamon, than to other distributions. And what I actually want to do is I want to use Cinnamon instead of you name it, instead of XFCE. And let's see if we can get this quickly done. For example, using AI. Let me ask. Create a VNC X startup file for Cinnamon. And it tells me to use this here. I'm copying it. How do I show this now? This is how it is supposed to be. I would run cinnamon-session. Cinnamon-session starts a Cinnamon session, and you need to do some debug magic around it, which we will not have to do, because we already have a debug running, to my understanding. Let's see if that holds true. So Cinnamon session, because to my understanding, it should be possible to just launch Cinnamon session here, and then the complete screen would change. However, of course, I have Cinnamon not installed here, but I told you I have a container here, which is stateful as long as it does not get restarted. So it should be possible to do an apt update. You do not have to type sudo, because you are root anyway. People tell me it's not good practice to run a graphical environment as root. I have never understood this. Maybe you can tell me in the comments why this is really not a good idea. I find it is a good idea, as long as you know what you are doing, because you do not have to prepone sudo all the time. But I will ask now, which packages do I need for Cinnamon And I guess it will be that I do an apt install xeyes. This is just to show you something. So it is just to show you that it works. So first of all, I made a mistake. It's not called xeyes. It's called X11 apps, and it is running already. And here the cool thing is this little friend and helper, these are two eyes, and they always follow the mouse cursor. So you can guess where the mouse cursor is by just looking at these two eyes. Unfortunately, they do no longer feature a close button. So I have to go here and I say close, and now they are away. Another possibility is that you say control. So this is a way to get rid of the xeyes. You just focus on the console. You can say Control C, or of course you can say xeyes, and now you have the same problem here, because you cannot close them and you cannot Control C them. So what do you do in this case? Question for the Linux gurus. They're still running. You see here, they're still running. So what do? We can say, for example, kill all xeyes, or another option is that you see so I have added the ampersand. That means it runs in the background and gives back control to the console. So I can run more and more commands. That means that's what background means. So I can use the command FG, like foreground, to put the command into the foreground again. And now it is in the foreground, which means I cannot do anything on the console. You see, ls doesn't work, uname doesn't work, it does not even take input. And now I can Control C it. I hope I can Control C it. Okay, this is unexpected. This did not work. Sorry for that. Anyway, if I close the console, then the parent of the parent process of xeyes is closed, and then xeyes will also close. So let's start again. What did I want to do? I wanted to apt install which packages? Let me see. Why not Cinnamon desktop environment? This should be huge now. And I remember when I was doing KDE, that were about 50 megabytes of code that you had to do just to do that start KDE, or however it was called. And the other question is if XFCE and Cinnamon work together, because XFCE will say, hey, I'm here. I'm a window manager. Here we have another window manager, the Windows window manager, but it is not in the container. Here we have a container, and there we have XFCE running, and XFCE says, I need this here, and I need this here, and I control the Windows like this. And by the way, you have different virtual desktops. This is what XFCE does. So now we say, okay, I want to start Cinnamon, and what will happen now is that it will add a start button here, and I hope it will at the same time terminate XFCE, and I'm very interested if that happens. So if you now see the installation process, it is super fast because it has super fast network connection. Oh, let's stop now. So the question is what happened here. So question is, what happened here? I assume that we ran out of memory. So let's check for this. Here we see we have 2 gigabytes of memory. And I repeat this apt install Cinnamon desktop environment, enter. And it says update. I first have to do update because the container has restarted. So you see that it's really fiddling around with software, and you learn a lot here. 2 packages can be upgraded. I believe that I believe that the old installation of Cinnamon is still not finished, and this means these two packages can still be upgraded. And it says upgraded from libgcrypt. Okay, so probably that was, so maybe that was one dependency of the Cinnamon desktop, but let's just try it. Apt install Cinnamon minus desktop. Cinnamon desktop environment minus environment. And now let's look about, we have still a lot of stuff free. And I say, yes, I want to continue. And gets a bit less free space. So maybe we should give the service a bit more memory. At the moment, it has 2 gigabyte, which should be enough for such a small Linux desktop. The problem is it does not swap. So the problem is all needs to fit into memory, and a container does not swap. That is the problem. So if you have a problem, if you have a real problem with this and you want to get it fixed, I also have a Guacamole offering. I also have a GitHub repository, how to do this with Guacamole. And when you do this, then, oh my God, indeed, it is memory bound. I think we will be exhausted. The memory will be exhausted soon. No, it has been, memory has been freed again. And this thing is keeping on my toes. I like this. No risk, no fun. Okay, and now we see the no VNC desktop has stopped, and I believe it was pretty much after 5 minutes. So let's see if we can verify this, that there's still a limitation to 5 minutes. So here we have 11:45, and then there's this watch command. And with this watch command, you can find out when a service is done. So we keep this in mind, 11:45 UTC. And I say, so 11:45, and I say, time hasn't changed or what? Ah, okay, these were only, wait 5, sleep 5 it was, sleep 2. Sleep 2 just means, okay, wait for 2 seconds. And I will now do a sleep. 300 would be 5 minutes. 240 would be 4 minutes. So I don't like this. Let's say sleep 200. Kill all sleep. Sleep 200. So I want that damn thing to awake me once 5 minutes have passed. So I want to be alerted at 11:50. At 11:50. Why does it not have a clock here? Ah, here is a clock. So at 11:50, I expect the next outage of this system, and then we have to watch what is happening. Because, as I said, I have set up a timeout of 3,600 seconds. So let's closely watch this. So which service are we talking about here? We are here in this service, and then we say edit and deploy new revision. And it says we have a timeout. We have a request timeout of 3,600 seconds. So it should wait 1 hour before crashing. should wait 1 hour before crashing. And this is no VNC Chrome. Okay, here I'm in the wrong window, sorry. So this is a thing running in US. That is the thing running in Europe. I just overlooked it. Why the hell is that still running? Let me see. Maybe the command uptime helps us. This has been up for 34 minutes. And this here, this has been up for 6 minutes. And everything works. But the problem is, as soon as I do install Cinnamon desktop environment, okay, it will again fail. And I want to watch, yeah, okay, update. So here I'm in Europe, here I am in, okay, let's see, let's continue here. Damn, I deleted this service. That makes it more fun. I deleted the US Central service. This is the last container. There will be no new container. Cool, huh? So this is now my chance to do an update and just see what happens, because the thing will restart, right? Now I was a bit confused. I have to say I was a bit nervous when I started this, because I have nothing to show here. I'm just looking around what we can do here. And here I'm in US Central, and we have an uptime of 40 minutes about, right? We have 36 minutes. And here we have an uptime of less. And I'm working on that system that is already abandoned, because why not? So here we are, 36 minutes. I said what was the last command? Update. Now I say install Cinnamon desktop environment, enter, and I make a new terminal to see how my memory is. Maybe the US version is just more stable. That was probably just a server crashing when I consumed too much memory accidentally. I have no idea. So 900, and I predict the same thing will happen. And at the same minute, when it gets too full, also a good idea. Let's make a new tab and use my favorite command, df-h, disk-free minus human readable. And 8.0e is available, whatever e means. We have a bit of memory, and that will soon go back to 1 gigabyte. Then it will crash. Let's see. So DPKG, so that is a Debian package manager, installing software since the year 2000 or whatever. We have a progress of 11%. Oops, okay, exactly at the 11% progress, it killed the container. It killed the container, and it was not the memory that was free. And it let me talk with AI what's happening here. So when I run apt install Cinnamon desktop environment in my container running Linux, it crashes at 11%. Timeout of the container is set to 3,600 seconds. This is not the problem. Timeout of the container is 3,600. There seems to be plenty of disk space and memory left. Why does my session crash? It is almost never a timeout, RAM, or disk space issue. Instead, it is usually caused by apt attempting to trigger a system daemon, hardware service, or kernel module that doesn't exist or isn't allowed to run inside a container environment. At roughly 11%, apt has finished downloading the packages and is unpacking the core setup scripts. Here are the 3 most likely culprits for a container crash during a Cinnamon installation. Isn't it funny? This AI always pretends to know everything, is hallucinating like crazy, but it has some ideas that are unbelievably good. So the most likely trap, according to AI, is the systemd service startup trap, because Cinnamon relies on systemd components like account service, LightDM, or UDEV. When apt unpacks these packages, it immediately tries to use systemctl to start or restart those services. The problem is standard containers do not run a systemd in its system wide. That could be it. So AI proposes the fix to temporarily trick apt into thinking services are successfully running by using a policy-rc.d exploit. So it's proposing to echo something into user sbin policy-rc.d, and then I shall try installing. I will not do this. Instead, I will ask AI to rewrite my Docker file for Cinnamon desktop environment. Exactly the right topic for parties, what I'm doing here. Great party discussion. I'm using my Cinnamon desktop environment. Please rewrite my Docker file for Cinnamon instead of XFCE. Oops, I did not give it that Docker file. Now I copied my Docker file into it. I need to refresh here. Okay. Please rewrite this Docker file to use Cinnamon instead of XFCE for : Ctrl-V. And then I hope that it will just take over my Docker file, and I don't have a lot to do. So it is giving me a Docker file plus, please, I did not copy it. Please rewrite this Docker file to use Cinnamon instead of XFCE4. Because that's what AI is good at, writing Docker files. you did not regard my original Docker file. Please only modify it to use Cinnamon instead of XFCE. Yeah, and again, this means setting the Debian frontend to non-interactive. Yeah, I know all this, but it just came up with a Docker file that installs Ubuntu, and then okay, let me ask another AI. Please rewrite this Docker file to use Cinnamon instead of XFCE. And then we have it. You can watch it. You can watch the Docker file inside my GitHub repository. And this here does not look too bad. Okay. But I forgot that I outsourced the start.sh. So it is proposing this here. Docker file with Cinnamon. And let me get here. And then I say I use the start.sh. And I say also rewrite start.sh. Okay. Let me see what happens here. I think the Docker file, it copies X startup. Okay, the problem here is X startup, not the start file. Exit the session. Cinnamon session. Okay, that fails with command not found. Try this here. I'm going here. I'm changing X startup. dd deletes. I inserts Control V. Escape : WQ writes, and now we also have to cat create a Docker file, and then we take this Docker file here. Docker file was here. Now type Control-V, Control-D, and get start.sh. So start.sh just starts the VNC, the no VNC proxy, and X startup. So it has nothing to do with if you use Cinnamon or not. So start.sh is good. README can stay the same. Start.sh can stay the same. Setup.sh should be able to stay the same. And this is what we recently modified: X startup and Dockerfile. Now setup.sh, let's see here. Yeah, it just does it basically just sets timeout and runs the gcloud command. Okay, that looks good. So with this command, ls-lt-rh, you sort your files by date. So Dockerfile we have modified, X startup we have modified, setup.sh we do not need to modify, start.sh we do not need to modify. What is again in that XFCE for desktop? Okay, that is that was for the background. I don't think we even need it, but let's try it again. Why can I not call setup? Setup.sh, does it not have a shebang? It does have. So of course, / I forgot. sh would also be possible. So now it is installing the next container, and it is installing it in the same region. So I'm really interested how that goes, yeah? Because as you know, here we have no VNC service in US Central 1. Didn't I delete this? No VNC Chrome. No VNC Chrome in Europe West 1. And this will now install a second no VNC Chrome in Europe West 1. So I expected to create a new revision, but I'm not sure. And we will learn this now. Any questions in the chat? No. I'm super clear. Everything is already answered. That is a good feeling. Then let's look how it installs. So no VNC. This is now I click on connect, and it says, hey, I don't exist any longer. You idiot, have destroyed the service. Yes, I did this on purpose. Yeah, nice. No VNC Chrome. No VNC service. So the no VNC service, of course, is an old relict where I already tried some similar things, where I was very successful. And I think we can close this now. So what else do I have here? No VNC Chrome, no VNC service. So let's see if it overrides it or if it makes a new revision or maybe a new service. Maybe it calls it no VNC Chrome 1. Maybe it gives it the same name and the name is duplicated. Very interesting. Oh, maybe the container fails completely. I mean, provided we get it to run, it may still be that the Docker file does not contain all the needed packages and that the thing does not start up at all. That's completely a possibility. But the cool thing is we have Linux in the browser. I just want a beautiful Linux in the browser now. And Cinnamon is a very beautiful desktop environment. By the way, if you want to try out Linux, don't try it out in a browser. Try it out in on a USB disk. I also have a YouTube video how to do this. So I created a USB boot stick for Linux. It needs to be writable if you want to be able to update your Linux kernel, which you may have to do depending on your hardware. So I have this computer here, and this is my dream computer when I bought it. It is still my dream computer. And it is so modern that sound doesn't work with the latest Linux Mint that you download. So if you want to get sound working, you have to use Linux Mint and then upgrade it. But that doesn't that's not possible with a standard USB boot disk. So you need a writable USB boot disk where even the operating system is writable. And then you can still start it from you can still start your computer, and sound will work from a USB boot disk. You just have to upgrade the kernel. And not the kernel. The detail is that it is some framework of some sound framework, because they use a new sound framework in Linux land every week or so. So we had ALSA, that is long gone. We had Pulse Audio, and all of them were super interesting, but nothing was sustainable. Nothing stayed longer than, I believe, a week or so. It feels like a week. And this permanent switching around was in the end the reason why I'm now using Windows on this computer. But I'll shut up now. Yeah, Linux is great, and the sound system of Linux is even better. And that's why we need a new one every week. So, live streaming. Yeah, it ran surprisingly well so far. Okay, I have discussed everything that I'm writing in the README of my beautiful little project. I just need more time for this damn project. I need more time to work on my weird ideas, like putting a Linux into a browser in order to get what you could have immediately from a VPN service. But hey, it's great to wrap your head around little details and find out things. Together with AI, it has become even more fun because it tells you how to correct your mistakes much quicker than you could find out alone. So it is creating a revision. Could be that it is just doing a new revision. And if we have learned nothing from this, then just we have still learned what happens if you deploy two services with the same name. Here I click on No VNC Chrome in Europe West 3, and then I want to see the revisions. Oh, yeah, that looks good. It just created a second version, which means we can always switch back to the original one. And still 100% of the traffic is directed to the first version. I should go to the fitness center and do something useful. In 20 minutes it's time. Time to leave the paradise of firing neurons. Doesn't harm to click here. You don't need to be perfect, just switch around. That means you cannot really do. That disappoints me a bit. If you cannot even install a desktop environment in this Linux container because that thing calls something which I don't know what it is. Aha, that does not look bad, does it? That looks like a Cinnamon desktop building up itself and letting me wait. So with no mouse cursor here, so you may see my mouse cursor that disappears once I put it here into the, I hope it's still doing something. What happens if I say refresh here? Oh my, that is the problem with containers. They are so hard to debug. How can I look under the hood now? What's happening? Maybe it's still doing something. Maybe not, but I really want to know where it failed. What happened? One option would be to just start up, to just fire up a terminal and then start Cinnamon desktop session, then find out what happened. I mean, how do I even get control of this? Maybe 2 GB are not enough. So what I could do now, I guess I have to do this on my own computer now. Then I can take over control over the container while it is running and have a look behind the scenes what's going on. That would be option number 2. Option number 1 would be to look into the log file. But on the other hand, to look into the log files, I need to be able to take control over this here. So when I look here and I go to Dockerfile, quite at the end, doesn't it say to redirect the error output somewhere else? Yes, it may do, but not in the Docker file, but in the X startup file. Oh, yeah, okay. So what was the X startup file that I created here? Okay, let me find it here. It say AI said if that fails with command not found, try the other one. Okay, maybe it said command not found, but I didn't see it. I'll give it that shot still. So dbus launch, exit with session, Cinnamon session. Okay, so that's confusing. It says use exit with session, Cinnamon session. If that fails, use exit with session, Cinnamon session, Cinnamon. What a nonsense. So you have 2 commands, one being Cinnamon session and the other one being Cinnamon session, Cinnamon. One more thing, AI says. Cinnamon is much more sensitive to missing components than XFCE. I would also add these packages to the Docker file. libcanberra GTK3 module, libcanberra GTK module, polycykit1, Cinnamon desktop environment. instead of a plain cinnamon. Before rebuilding, I would also run inside the container which cinnamon session, cinnamon. So which one is it using? But I cannot do it because I cannot control the container. Okay, last try here. Then the fun is over. I'm changing the start.sh as advised. No, X startup. And I remove this. And as we have to rebuild the container anyhow, I can also vi docker file and add libconfig GTK3 module libconfig GTK3 GTK dash module policy kit -1 and possibly cinnamon minus desktop minus environment instead of the plain cinnamon. And if you have looked at my other YouTube videos, you know that it is no problem if you don't know how a command is called. Because you could just say or. So if that fails, the other will be drawn, and that is cinnamon dash session. And I don't trust dbus, as you can see here. So last chance for version number 3. I'm just doing the setup now. So I just ask AI. Can't I just do cinnamon minus session or cinnamon minus session minus cinnamon? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, cool idea. Came too late. For a throwaway container, that's a perfectly reasonable approach. But what does dbus launch do? Yeah, I have always asked myself, what does dbus launch do? 10 years or so. And now we have AI, and I can just ask a large language model. What does dbus launch do? dbus is the message bus that allows applications to talk to each other. For example, File Manager tells desktop, open this folder. Chrome tells desktop, show a notification. Power Manager tells desktop, battery low. If you understand it, if you explain it like this, I understand. Normally, when you log in via GDM, LightDM, dbus session is automatically started for you. In your Docker VNC setup, there's no display manager, so there's no session bus. So you need to start dbus. Yeah? And dbus must be the thing beneath all. So it is the fundament. You cannot just start an application and then start dbus, to my understanding. To my understanding, you must always use dbus to call cinnamon session, not the other way around. And dbus sets some environment variables that your Cinnamon session has to know. So it's not as easy as to start dbus and then to start a Cinnamon session. But I don't want to talk bullshit here. So let's see if that's really the case. I cannot say dbus minus launch and then later Cinnamon session, right? Why? You can, but not in the way most people expect. When you run dbus launch, it doesn't just start dbus, it also prints environment variables. These variables tell applications how to find the dbus server. So if you want to, if you simply do dbus launch and then Cinnamon session, then the Cinnamon session never receives the variables how to talk with dbus. So it is better if you just run dbus launch blank Cinnamon session. If you don't want to do this, you have to do some advanced magic, as I can see here. So yeah, good. You could do eval $dbus session that would then execute the output from dbus launch and would therefore set environment variables, and afterwards you could run Cinnamon session. So we keep it easy and just say, just do what AI tells us. Here's what happens. Dbus launch starts dbus. What happens? Dbus launch starts the dbus, prints environment variables, and then Cinnamon session calls them and evaluates them. And this is why you should always do dbus launch Cinnamon session and not dbus launch semicolon Cinnamon session, for example. Or dbus launch backslash Cinnamon session. Okay, I have learned something. So if you don't have dbus, then the power manager does not know how to communicate with Cinnamon or XFCE to communicate, hey, the battery is getting empty, something like that. Many more examples. So all notifications get lost then. On the other hand, we don't have a power manager because we don't have a laptop here. And notifications, I don't like notifications. If they are not being displayed, I wouldn't be sad about it. So basically, technically, it would still work if we were to call only Cinnamon session. But you never know which functionality you are missing when you are missing functionality. So I stick with the recommendation here. So what has gone wrong now? Most probably Cinnamon session, or whatever I called there, did launch because we did see something. So the command itself was launched. Unfortunately, when this happened, unfortunately, afterwards, nothing was launched, like the menu bar, or nothing was created. So I suspect the problem was some command that we will never know which it was, making the whole thing fail. I could just say it worked, but it did not show the menu bar, and my mouse cursor became invisible. That's actually good news. It means XVNC works. Cinnamon starts. The session doesn't crash. What's broken is likely Muffin. Cinnamon's window manager or compositor or Cinnamon's panel. A common symptom is desktop background visible, Windows open, no panel, menu bar, invisible cursor. So sensible thing would be to take a look at the logs, which we cannot do because we cannot log in because we don't see the mouse cursor. And I also did a right click with an invisible mouse cursor, but that did not help. So we cannot start anything. So if we could do something, we could say cinnamon -- replace from inside the session. My suspicion, says AI, is that Cinnamon expects OpenGL acceleration with VNC, which VNC doesn't provide. Try adding X startup before starting Cinnamon. That's nonsense. Try adding 2X startup before starting Cinnamon. Export libgl always software, so no hardware acceleration. Export Clutter backend X11. Export GDK backend X11. So that's becoming interesting. I'm already looking forward to the next time we see us, but this year is coming to an end, and I will just have a look at this here. For the invisible mouse cursor, install apt-get install xcursor themes. As if I needed a software package for a mouse cursor. Okay. AI guesses 70% chance Cinnamon panel crashes because Muffin OpenGL isn't happy under Tiger VNC. That would be bad. 70% chance that something bad happened. It is bad because that would mean that it would now not come up. 20% chance missing cursor theme package. 10% chance missing PolicyKit session packages. That would be good because we have added PolicyKit. Honestly, if your goal is Linux Mint-like desktop in a browser, I would now try Mate. Cinnamon is notorious for being fragile in VNC container environments, whereas Mate is usually a drop-in success once XFCE works. The fact that you already got a desktop means you're very close. Okay, that's a good idea. So I will now switch from XFCE to Mate and be good with it and publish it in my GitHub repository. Sounds like a plan. Creating revision. Oh, I like talking to no one. taking a bit longer, right? Creating revision. Third revision. Maybe we are lucky. Maybe it was the policy kit, but you never know. 70% chance AI said that it is. Now, where's my mouse cursor? Here's it. So 70% chance that it is because of Muffin OpenGL, so that it tries to use hardware acceleration, which is of course not possible under VNC. And in order to avoid this, you would say things like export libgl always software. So this libgl is the thing that uses hardware acceleration for display. And Clutter backend needs to be X11, which is our window system. GTK backend is also X11. So you set this, then you live in a good world where all graphics is being done by software and hardware acceleration is not being used. It could just say, hey, I don't have hardware acceleration. What's so hard about this? Let's go back to the overview. 3 minutes ago, well, not doing anything. Okay, at least updating worked now. So, and where's the traffic? So let's try it here. Oh, worse than before. Mouse cursor is invisible, but the desktop is also invisible. So nothing helps here. Oh, okay. Yeah, was a bit slow. Wait, show keyboard. Doesn't show the keyboard here. Settings. No scaling. May mean I can scroll down. Yeah, I can scroll down, but I don't see the menu bar. Okay, most probably, it's also my experience, most probably it is this damn hardware acceleration. Okay, I hope you learned something. And I look forward to seeing you all again, maybe in a week when we continue this adventure. See you. Longer and we'll no longer be live. Yeah, of course.